So, I went to this this networking event, you know how those are?
Mm-hmm.
And I swear I was like surrounded by people, but I felt totally like invisible.
Wow.
It was like a bubble or something,
Right.
completely disconnected. Yeah, yeah.
It's interesting how,
So anyway,
yeah.
it got me thinking about loneliness, which, is what we're going to deep dive into today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we've got some great articles, on this,
For sure.
especially this one called 5 Myths About Loneliness You Should Stop Believing
Oh.
from, an organization called LPots.
Oh, yeah. LPots. They're doing some great work.
Yeah, they're cool. Anyway, they focus on loneliness. So we're going to tackle those 5 common myths
Sounds good.
about loneliness, myth busting and all that.
Always fun.
So this is going to be great for, people who want knowledge quickly, but like thoroughly,
Absolutely.
So get this. Could you know that loneliness isn't just a problem for, like grandma? Turns out it's actually hitting younger generations even harder.
Huh. That's interesting. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So let's just jump into myth number 1.
Okay.
Loneliness only affects the elderly.
Right.
It's so easy to just like picture loneliness as something that, like I said, happens to older people when their social circle kind of shrinks. Right?
Yeah, you kind of think like, oh, that's something that happens to other people, not me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But is it really that simple?
Well, not really. No, studies actually show that that young adults, particularly Gen Z and millennials,
Right.
they're reporting way higher levels of loneliness than any other age group, which is pretty crazy when you think about it.
Wow, that's yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think there are a lot of factors at play here.
Okay.
Social media is a big one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like there's all this pressure to present this like perfect image online. And that can make people feel really inadequate. And then there's, the financial strain of starting a career these days. The economy is all over the place.
Yeah.
And it's tough to make ends meet. And then, you've got FOMO, fear of missing out.
Oh yeah.
Which is fueled by social media, right? So you're constantly seeing everyone else having these amazing experiences.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel like you're not doing enough.
Totally.
So it all adds up,
Yeah, it's like even though they're constantly connected online,
Yeah.
they might be missing out on those, deeper face-to-face connections
Exactly.
to actually make you feel seen, right?
Right, like real connections, not just like,
Yeah.
superficial stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess that kind of brings us to myth number 2.
Yeah, myth number 2.
Which is loneliness equals being alone,
Right.
which, again, seems pretty simple on the surface.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing it's not that straightforward.
Yeah. No, definitely not. My research shows that people actually feel the most profound loneliness when they lack those close confidant relationships.
Right.
Those people, they can truly be themselves with. It's about quality, not quantity,
Yeah.
It's not about having a ton of friends. It's about having a few really good ones that you can, really connect with on a deep level.
You know what? That reminds me of when I first moved to a new city for work.
Right, yeah.
And I, had colleagues and we would go to social events and stuff.
Right.
But I still felt so lonely for months.
Yeah.
It was really weird. I had all this social interaction.
Yeah.
But I was missing that deep sense of connection.
Right, that feeling of belonging.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting how that works.
Yeah, and we don't talk about it enough because of that third myth.
Oh, right.
That loneliness means there's something wrong with you. Yeah, we internalize it, we blame ourselves.
Totally.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just be happy with all these people around?
Right.
But viewing loneliness as like a personal failing just makes it worse, right?
Yeah, it does. It's so important to remember that loneliness is a natural human response.
Okay.
It's a signal that we need deeper connection, just like, hunger tells us we need to eat.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And ignoring those signals can have, serious consequences.
Right. Which, that brings us to social media.
Oh, yeah.
Is it the villain that everyone says it is?
Right. Is that myth number 4?
Yeah, myth number 4.
Social media causes loneliness.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, social media is often blamed for the the rise in loneliness.
Right.
And while, it can contribute, it's more nuanced than that.
Yeah.
For example, studies have shown that passively scrolling through social media, especially when it leads to like social comparison, that's linked to increased feelings of loneliness. But actively engaging with others online, like using it to connect with like-minded people or, maintain relationships, that can actually combat loneliness.
So it's not like the technology itself, but how we use it.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about being mindful, making sure we're not just passively consuming, but like actively connecting.
Right. Okay, so speaking of nuance, let's tackle that last myth, myth number 5.
Okay, hit me.
Loneliness is permanent.
Ooh, yeah.
This one feels, I don't know, it feels dangerous.
It does, yeah.
Because it can really trap people in this like cycle of despair, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But it's just not true, is it?
No, it's not. Loneliness is a feeling, and feelings, they change.
Okay.
They're not permanent. We can take concrete steps to like shift how we feel.
So what can people do? What are like some concrete things?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one thing that's really helpful is joining a club or group based on your interests. That's a great way to meet like-minded people. Volunteering can be incredibly rewarding too.
Yeah.
It connects you to others and gives you that sense of purpose.
Right.
And sometimes even just like making an effort to smile at a stranger.
Yeah.
Or strike up a conversation with, someone in your everyday life.
Yeah.
That can create a spark of connection.
It's about like those small steps.
It is, yeah.
Like pushing yourself a little bit outside of your comfort zone.
Exactly.
So to recap, loneliness doesn't just affect the elderly.
Nope.
It's not about being physically alone. It's not a character flaw.
Not at all.
Social media isn't inherently evil.
Right.
And it's definitely not a life sentence.
Definitely not.
Boom. Myths busted.
Busted wide open.
So, yeah.
So I want you to think about this.
Okay.
What makes you feel truly connected? What small step can you take today, like right now, to nurture those connections or build new ones?
That's a great question for all of us to like think about.
Yeah.
And if you want to delve deeper into this whole world of human connection,
yes,
we have tons of resources for you on our website. So thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah. Anytime.
All right, take care.
You too.
Bye.